Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth and opportunities while others struggle endlessly, despite working just as hard? That the difference between those who prosper and those who struggle isn't talent, luck, or even hard work, but something far simpler and more powerful. It's the way they speak to reality itself. There's a reason kings throughout history never begged for their kingdoms, and generals never asked permission to lead their armies. They understood something that most people today have completely forgotten: the difference between commanding and pleading. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you heard someone truly wealthy beg for money? When did you see a successful leader ask timidly for what they wanted? Has this ever happened to you? You've noticed how certain people walk into a room and somehow everything shifts around them? They don't hope things will work out. They speak as if their words carry the weight of law itself. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful manifestation techniques that leave you waiting and wondering. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because there's a specific command, a precise way of speaking that acts like a magnet for money and opportunities. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this principle when she taught that our words literally shape our reality. But here's what most people miss. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. The authority behind your words determines whether reality bends to your will or ignores you entirely. Most people spend their lives in a constant state of begging their boss for a raise, begging the universe for a lucky break, begging life to finally give them what they deserve. But begging carries the vibration of lack, and the universe responds to that frequency by giving you more of what you're vibrating. More lack, more waiting, more silence. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share with you will fundamentally change how you interact with reality. This isn't about hoping and wishing. This is about recognizing the raw power that exists within your own voice. Every word you speak is either building the life you want or reinforcing the life you're trying to escape. The wealthy understand something that the struggling masses don't. Your word is law when spoken with genuine authority. They don't ask permission from the universe. They declare their intentions with the certainty of rulers. And reality, having no choice but to respond to authority, rearranges itself accordingly. But here's the thing that might shock you. This power isn't reserved for the elite or the naturally gifted. It's sitting dormant within you right now, waiting to be activated. The moment you understand how to command, rather than beg, everything changes. The question is, are you ready to discover exactly how this works? And more importantly, are you ready to stop being polite with the universe and start commanding it instead? If you're ready to stop hoping and start commanding your reality, subscribing ensures you get every tool for conscious creation. This isn't random content. It's a complete system for mastering the authority of your voice. Because here's what nobody wants to tell you about: manifestation. It's not gentle, it's not sweet, and it's certainly not polite. The transformation that creates real wealth and genuine opportunity comes from raw authority, not from asking nicely. Think about every powerful leader, every successful entrepreneur, every person who has genuinely changed their circumstances. They didn't whisper their dreams into the void, hoping someone would listen. They declared their intentions with such certainty that reality had no choice but to reshape itself around their words. This is the hidden truth behind why most manifestation techniques fail. People have been taught to be courteous with the universe, to say please and thank you, to hope that maybe someday their dreams might come true. But the universe doesn't respond to politeness. It responds to authority. When you speak with genuine command, when your words carry the weight of absolute certainty, life cannot remain the same. It's not about volume or aggression. It's about the unmistakable vibration of someone who knows their word is law. The real revelation here is understanding how this epidemic of begging has infected almost everyone's relationship with abundance. Walk through any office building and you'll hear it everywhere. People begging their bosses for recognition, pleading with circumstances to change, hoping that somehow the universe will intervene and give them the lucky break they've been waiting for. This begging energy has become so normalized that most people don't even recognize they're doing it. But here's the behind-the-scenes impact of this mindset. Begging actually repels the very things you desire most. When you beg, you're unconsciously declaring that you don't have power, that what you want exists outside of your control, that you're at the mercy of external forces. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects that powerlessness back to you with more situations that make you feel small, more circumstances that keep you waiting, more evidence that you're not in control of your own destiny. The journey from begging to commanding isn't just about changing your words. It's about fundamentally shifting how you see yourself in relationship to reality. Most people have been conditioned to believe that humility means making yourself small, that spiritual growth requires you to minimize your desires, that wanting wealth or success somehow makes you greedy or selfish. These beliefs create an internal conflict that sabotages every attempt at genuine transformation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this revelation because what you're about to understand will completely change how you speak to yourself and to the world around you. There's a specific way that reality responds to different frequencies of speech, and once you understand this mechanism, you'll never again wonder why some people seem to have everything flow effortlessly while others struggle endlessly for the smallest victories. Write in the comments, I choose authority over begging, if this resonates with how you're ready to transform your relationship with abundance. The mechanism behind this is something Florence Scovel Shinn understood deeply when she revealed that assumption creates reality. Every time you beg for something, you're unconsciously assuming that you lack it. Every time you plead with circumstances to change, you're assuming that the power to change them exists somewhere outside of yourself. And here's the hidden truth about how reality operates. It's constantly scanning your assumptions and reflecting them back to you with perfect accuracy. This is why weakness multiplies itself so effortlessly. When you assume lack, life gives you more situations that confirm your lack. When you assume powerlessness, circumstances arise that make you feel even more powerless. It's not punishment or cosmic cruelty. It's simply the universe being the perfect mirror that it is, showing you exactly what you believe about yourself and your place in the world. The transformation happens when you understand that commanding operates from a completely different frequency than asking. Think about how a king speaks versus how a beggar speaks. The king doesn't hope his subjects will obey. He declares, and reality bends around his words. A judge doesn't plead with the courtroom to accept his verdict. He speaks once, and the law obeys. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about understanding the fundamental difference between assuming outcome versus assuming possibility. When you command, you're not hoping something might happen. You're not wishing circumstances could change. You're declaring what is already true in the realm of infinite possibility and calling it forth into physical reality. This mindset shift creates an entirely different energetic signature that the universe recognizes and responds to immediately. Most people have never experienced what it feels like to speak with genuine authority because they've been conditioned to believe that wanting things makes them selfish, that declaring their desires makes them demanding, that speaking with certainty makes them arrogant. These beliefs create an internal resistance that sabotages every attempt at genuine manifestation. But behind the scenes, reality is always listening to the frequency behind your words, not just the words themselves. When you speak from a place of assumed authority, when your voice carries the vibration of someone who knows their word is law, the universe has no choice but to respond accordingly. It's not about forcing or manipulating. It's about aligning with the natural laws that govern how consciousness creates experience. The journey from weakness to authority isn't about becoming someone different. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning that taught you to make yourself small. Every person who has ever achieved anything significant understood this principle, whether consciously or unconsciously. They spoke as if their success was inevitable, Not possible. Now, this brings us to something even more profound about how this authority expresses itself through the specific words you choose, because there's a particular command that carries more transformative power than any other. Write in the comments, "I assume my power," if you're ready to step into this new way of being. The revelation about how the universe operates is simpler than most people realize, yet more profound than they could imagine. Reality doesn't respond to the volume of your voice, the desperation in your pleas, or the intensity of your hoping. It responds to three things: tone, certainty, and authority. This is why commanding is actually dangerous territory, because once you truly speak with authentic authority, everything around you must follow. Think about this for a moment. When you walk into a room where someone is speaking with genuine certainty, you feel it immediately. There's something in their tone that makes you believe them before you even process their words. That same frequency is what moves mountains, opens doors, and shifts circumstances that seemed impossible to change. It's not about being loud or demanding, it's about carrying the unmistakable vibration of someone who knows their word is law. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle endlessly. It's not luck, connections, or even talent. It's that they've discovered, either consciously or unconsciously, how to speak from this place of assumed authority. They don't hope their businesses will succeed. They declare their success as inevitable. They don't wish for opportunities. They command them into existence. The people who subscribe here are actively transforming from victims of circumstance into architects of their experience. Each video builds your mastery over the creative power of words. Don't miss what's coming next. The transformation that happens when you truly understand this principle is irreversible. Once you cross this threshold, once you experience what it feels like to speak with genuine authority and see reality respond immediately, there's no going back. This is the point of no return that changes everything about how you interact with the world. Because here's what happens behind the scenes once you step into this new way of being. Excuses disappear forever. You can no longer blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for what's happening in your life. You can no longer hide behind the comfortable story that you're powerless, that success is reserved for other people, that wealth and abundance are somehow beyond your reach. The journey from victim to commander is both exhilarating and terrifying because it strips away every safety net you've been using to avoid taking full responsibility for your results. When you realize that your word carries the power to reshape reality, when you understand that the universe is constantly responding to the authority in your voice, you can never again pretend that you're at the mercy of external forces. This is why most people unconsciously resist stepping into their true power. It's easier to stay small, to keep begging, to maintain the illusion that someone else is in control of your destiny. But once you taste what it feels like to command rather than ask, to declare rather than hope, to speak as the ruler of your own reality, begging becomes impossible. Now, this brings us to the most important revelation of all, because there's a specific command that carries more transformative power than any other phrase you could possibly speak. Write in the comments, "I am ready for my point of no return," if you're prepared to cross this threshold. This principle isn't new or revolutionary. It's ancient wisdom that every great teacher throughout history understood and emphasized. From Florence Scovel Shinn to the most revered spiritual leaders, they all taught the same fundamental truth: guard your words carefully. They knew something that modern society has forgotten, that words don't simply vanish into thin air the moment you speak them. They echo through the fabric of reality itself, creating ripples that pull circumstances, people, and opportunities into alignment with whatever you've declared. The impact of this understanding becomes staggering when you consider the power that single sentences have demonstrated throughout history. One declaration of war has moved entire nations. One sentence of peace has ended conflicts that seemed impossible to resolve. One word of love has healed hearts that were shattered beyond repair. One command from a leader has mobilized armies and changed the course of civilization. If words possess this level of transformative power in global affairs, in relationships, in matters of life and death, why would they suddenly become powerless when it comes to your personal abundance? The same force that moves nations is the same force that moves money. The same authority that commands respect on the world stage is the same authority that commands opportunities to appear in your life. This revelation transforms everything about how you approach your desires and goals. Most people have been treating their words like casual conversation, throwing around complaints, doubts, and limitations as if these phrases have no consequence. But behind the scenes, every word you speak is either building the reality you want or reinforcing the reality you're trying to escape. The journey of awakening to this truth is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because you realize how carelessly you've been speaking, how many opportunities you've probably repelled with doubt-filled language. Empowering because you understand that the same mouth that has been creating struggle can immediately begin creating abundance. The hidden truth is that reality is always listening, always responding, always molding itself around the frequency of your declarations. When you complain about lack, you're instructing the universe to bring you more situations to complain about. When you speak with certainty about your success, you're commanding circumstances to align with that certainty. This is why the transformation must begin with a complete overhaul of how you speak to yourself and about yourself. Every great leader understood that their words were their most powerful tool, more influential than any weapon, more persuasive than any argument, more creative than any artist's brush. Now, what makes this even more compelling is that modern science has actually validated what these ancient teachers knew intuitively, proving that words have measurable effects on the physical world in ways that will completely change how you think about speaking. Write in the comments, "My words create my world," if this wisdom resonates with your growing understanding. The transformation begins when you realize that most people are unconsciously dropping boulders into the ocean of reality while thinking they're just tossing harmless pebbles. Every casual complaint, every throwaway comment about being broke, every unconscious declaration of limitation is reshaping entire tides of possibility around them. They have no idea that their careless words are creating the very circumstances they claim to want to escape. This unconscious speaking creates a cascade of unintended consequences that most people never connect back to: their own voice. They wonder why opportunities keep slipping away, why money seems to avoid them, why their relationships feel stagnant, never realizing that their daily conversations are programming these exact outcomes into their reality. But here's where this gets truly fascinating, because modern science has actually validated what spiritual teachers have known for centuries. Japanese researcher Masaru Emoto conducted experiments that proved words have measurable physical effects on matter. When he exposed water to positive words like love and gratitude, the molecules formed into beautiful, symmetrical, snowflake-like patterns. When the same water was exposed to negative words like hate and cruelty, the molecular structure collapsed into chaotic, distorted formations. The implications of this discovery are staggering when you consider that human beings are approximately 70% water. This means that every word you speak, every phrase you repeat, every declaration you make is literally sculpting your cellular structure from the inside out. Your words aren't just affecting your external circumstances, they're transforming your physical body, your energy field, your entire vibrational signature. This revelation changes everything about how you understand the relationship between consciousness and matter. Your cells, your tissues, your entire energetic system is constantly responding to the frequency of your voice. When you speak with certainty and authority, your body aligns with that frequency. When you speak with doubt and limitation, your physical structure reflects that chaos. The journey of awakening to this truth means recognizing that there's no such thing as harmless conversation. Every word is either building you up or breaking you down, creating coherence or generating chaos, aligning you with abundance or programming you for lack. Most people live their entire lives completely unaware that they're sculpting their own reality with every sentence. This is why the transformation must go deeper than just changing what you say. It requires a complete revolution in how conscious you become about the vibrations you're creating with your voice. When you understand that your words are literally reshaping your molecular structure, careless speaking becomes impossible. Now this brings us to an even more profound understanding about how these vibrations create patterns in your life that either support your dreams or sabotage them before they can manifest. Write in the comments, "I choose conscious creation," if you're ready to take full responsibility for the vibrations you're sending into reality. This internal sculpting process is happening every moment of every day, whether you're aware of it or not. Your entire system, every cell, every tissue, every energetic pathway is constantly responding to the vibrations you create with your voice. When you whisper doubts under your breath, when you repeat limiting phrases throughout your day, when you casually declare that you can't afford something or that success is hard, you're actively reshaping your physical and energetic being from the inside out. The transformation that's required here goes beyond surface-level positive thinking. This is about understanding that your body is literally a living recorder of every word you've ever spoken. Those repeated phrases about struggle, those casual complaints about money, those habitual declarations of limitation, they've been etching themselves into your cellular memory, creating patterns that your system now recognizes as normal. This is why some people carry what feels like weight in their lives, even when external circumstances seem manageable. Behind the scenes, years of careless words have created a dense, energetic signature that attracts more of the same heaviness. They've unknowingly programmed their cells to vibrate at the frequency of struggle, and their reality responds by providing endless evidence that struggle is their natural state. The hidden truth about how reality operates is both simple and profound. Life doesn't discriminate between what you mean and what you say. It doesn't make excuses for your unconscious moments or give you credit for your good intentions. Reality simply takes the instructions you give it through your words and builds accordingly. When you consistently speak about lack, you're literally instructing the universe to construct more situations where you'll experience lack. This revelation transforms how you understand the relationship between your internal dialogue and your external results. Every thought you think repeatedly, every phrase you mutter during frustrating moments, every declaration you make about your limitations is being recorded by your energetic system and transmitted as instructions to the field of infinite possibility that surrounds you. The journey of awakening to this truth means recognizing that there are no throwaway comments, no harmless complaints, no innocent expressions of doubt. Every word carries creative power, and your system responds to that power by aligning your entire being with whatever frequency you're consistently broadcasting. Most people live their entire lives completely unaware that they're the authors of their own experience through the words they choose. They blame external circumstances for their struggles while simultaneously programming those very struggles through their daily conversations with themselves and others. Now, this understanding opens the door to something even more profound about how conscious creators throughout history have used specific words to literally command reality into new configurations. Write in the comments, "I take responsibility for my words," if you're ready to become fully conscious of the creative power in your voice. This understanding leads us to one of Florence Scovel Shinn's most profound revelations. Your internal dialogue isn't harmless chatter, running in the background of your mind. Those conversations you have with yourself throughout the day, those repetitive thoughts you think nobody else can hear, those silent judgments and declarations, they're actually blueprints and orders being transmitted directly to the creative force that shapes your reality. The transformation that happens when you truly grasp this concept is both enlightening and sobering. Every silent thought begins constructing reality the moment it's formed. When you think to yourself that you'll never have enough money, that thought immediately begins assembling circumstances that will prove you right. When you internally declare that opportunities always go to other people, that declaration starts building a reality where you're consistently overlooked. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to effortlessly attract what they want, while others struggle endlessly despite their best efforts. The difference isn't in their external actions, it's in the quality of their internal conversations. Most people are unknowingly sabotaging themselves through the constant stream of doubt, limitation, and fear that runs through their minds throughout the day. But here's where the real revelation emerges. Reality doesn't bend for whispers of hope. It doesn't respond to gentle wishes or tentative desires. The universe responds to voices of authority, to declarations spoken with the certainty of someone who knows their word is law. This is why every great leader throughout history understood that they couldn't ask softly for what they wanted. They had to declare with absolute certainty that what they spoke was already accomplished. The journey from hope to authority represents one of the most significant mindset shifts a person can make. Hope keeps you waiting, wondering, wishing that maybe someday things might change. Authority places you in the driver's seat of your own destiny, speaking as the conscious creator of your experience rather than a victim of circumstances. Behind the scenes, this shift in how you speak to yourself creates an immediate impact on how reality responds to you. When your internal dialogue carries the frequency of authority, when your thoughts vibrate with certainty rather than doubt, the field of infinite possibility recognizes this frequency and begins rearranging itself accordingly. Most people have never experienced what it feels like to think and speak from this place of assumed authority because they've been conditioned to believe that certainty is arrogance, that declaring your desires is presumptuous, that speaking with confidence is somehow spiritually incorrect. Now, this brings us to the most crucial decision you'll ever make about how you want to interact with reality, because there's a specific way of speaking that transforms everything. Write in the comments, "I speak with authority," if you're ready to step into this new way of being. This decision about how you speak transforms everything, because the principle of authority extends far beyond simply attracting money into your life. When you understand that weak words create heavy lives across every single area of your existence, while powerful words make life itself responsive and malleable to your will, you begin to see the true scope of what's possible. The transformation touches your relationships, your health, your career opportunities, your creative expressions. Everything becomes fluid when you speak from genuine authority. Most people compartmentalize their desires, thinking they need different strategies for different areas of life. But the hidden truth is that reality responds to the same frequency of certainty, whether you're commanding abundance, love, health, or opportunity. Behind the scenes, this is why some people seem to live charmed lives where everything flows effortlessly. It's not that they're lucky or specially blessed. It's that they've discovered, either consciously or unconsciously, how to speak to all areas of life from this place of assumed authority. They don't hope their relationships will improve. They declare the love they deserve. They don't wish for better health. They command their body to respond with vitality. The impact becomes even more profound when you understand the door-opening principle. When you truly speak with authority, doors don't just crack open tentatively. They swing wide with such force that new possibilities become immediately visible. And here's what makes this truly extraordinary. If one door closes, another doesn't just appear, it bursts open instantly, often revealing opportunities that are far better than what you originally thought you wanted. This is the frightening power of command that most people never experience because they're too busy knocking politely, waiting for permission, hoping someone will notice their quiet requests. But when you step into true authority, the universe doesn't have time to hesitate or deliberate. Reality reorganizes itself around your declarations with such speed that it can actually feel overwhelming at first. The journey from tentative hoping to commanding presence requires releasing the comfortable illusion that you're small, that your voice doesn't matter, that change takes time. Some of the most dramatic life transformations happen not over years or months, but in the moment someone finally decides to speak as the ruler of their own reality. Most people resist this level of power because it eliminates every excuse they've been using to stay comfortable in limitation. When you know that your word carries the authority to reshape any area of your life, you can no longer blame circumstances, other people, or timing for what you're experiencing. Now, this revelation about the speed and scope of transformation leads us to something even more profound about the ultimate responsibility that comes with this power. Write in the comments, "I command all areas of my life," if you're ready to. Embrace this level of authority across everything you experience. This ultimate responsibility is both liberating and terrifying, because once you recognize the truth, that your voice has been shaping reality all along, there's nowhere left to hide. You can no longer blame luck for your circumstances, attribute your struggles to chance, or use external factors as excuses for what you're experiencing. The transformation from victim consciousness to creator consciousness happens in the moment you accept that every outcome in your life has been influenced by the frequency of your words. Behind the scenes, this recognition changes everything about how you move through the world. When you understand that reality has been responding to your declarations all along, every conversation becomes conscious, every thought becomes intentional, every word becomes a deliberate act of creation. Most people resist this level of accountability because it strips away the comfortable illusion that they're powerless, that life happens to them rather than through them. The journey of awakening to this truth requires conducting what I call a daily declaration audit. Every single word you've ever spoken has contributed to shaping your current reality. Those casual complaints about money that you thought were harmless, they've been programming lack into your experience. Those repeated statements about how hard life is, they've been constructing a reality that confirms that belief. Those unconscious declarations of limitation, they've been building walls around your possibilities. This revelation means that every word you choose moving forward will literally determine where you're going. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but mechanically. Your future is being constructed in real time through the words you speak today. This makes conscious speaking not just important, but absolutely essential for anyone who wants to live intentionally rather than accidentally. The impact of this understanding transforms how you approach every moment of your day. You begin to notice the subtle ways you've been sabotaging yourself through unconscious language patterns. You become aware of how often you speak about what you don't want instead of what you do want. You realize that your internal commentary has been programming your external circumstances with frightening precision. Most people live their entire lives completely unaware that they're the authors of their own experience through their word choices. They wonder why certain patterns keep repeating, why the same types of problems keep appearing, why abundance seems to flow to others but not to them, never connecting these outcomes to their daily declarations. Now, this awareness brings us to the most profound realization of all. There's a specific command that carries more transformative power than any other phrase you could possibly speak. Write in the comments, "I am the author of my reality," if you're ready to take complete ownership of the creative power in your voice. This specific command carries such transformative power that when you finally speak it with genuine authority, you'll feel something that can only be described as lightning in your chest. It's not just a physical sensation. It's your soul recognizing the frequency it's been waiting to express all along. That electric feeling is your entire being aligning with its natural state of creative authority, remembering what it feels like to speak as the conscious architect of your own reality. The transformation happens because this command cuts through years of conditioning that taught you to minimize yourself, to speak tentatively, to hope rather than declare. When you finally voice it with complete certainty, your body responds immediately because it recognizes truth. This isn't positive thinking or motivational speaking. This is the remembrance of your inherent power to shape circumstances through the authority of your voice. Think back to those edge-of-change moments in your own life when you finally stopped hoping and started declaring with absolute certainty. Remember that time you'd had enough at a job that was draining your soul, and instead of complaining for the 100th time, You finally declared with complete conviction, "I'm done." Within days, sometimes hours, a path appeared that you couldn't see before, or that relationship you'd been dragging through months of uncertainty until one morning you spoke with such finality that the decision was made. This ends now. And suddenly the way forward became crystal clear. Behind the scenes, what was happening in those moments wasn't coincidence or good timing. You had shifted from the frequency of hope to the frequency of command, and reality responded immediately by clearing a path that matched your declaration. Every decisive moment in your life has followed this same pattern. The moment you stopped asking and started declaring, circumstances rearranged themselves around your certainty. The journey of recognizing these patterns reveals something profound about how quickly transformation can happen when you speak from genuine authority. Most people miss these connections because they attribute the rapid changes to external factors, never realizing that their shift in how they spoke was the catalyst that moved everything else. This understanding transforms how you approach any situation where you want change. Instead of hoping things might improve, instead of waiting for the right moment, instead of asking permission from circumstances, you begin to recognize that every moment is an opportunity to declare what is true and watch reality reorganize accordingly. Now, this brings us to the ultimate revelation about the specific words that carry more creative power than any others you could possibly speak. Write in the comments, "I remember my power," if you're ready to reconnect with this natural authority within you. The revelation becomes crystal clear when you understand that the difference between "I will have this" and "I hope I get this" isn't just semantic. It's the vibrational frequency that separates kings from beggars. When you speak from hope, you're unconsciously declaring that what you want exists outside your control, that you're dependent on external forces to grant your desires. But when you speak from certainty, when you declare, "I will have this," you're vibrating at the frequency of authority, commanding reality rather than pleading with it. This isn't about chance or luck, it's about vibrational authority that reality recognizes and responds to immediately. Most people have never experienced what it feels like to speak from this place of absolute certainty because they've been conditioned to believe that wanting things makes them greedy, that declaring their desires makes them arrogant, that speaking with confidence somehow violates spiritual principles. But the transformation that happens when you finally step into this frequency is both exhilarating and terrifying, because command comes with what I call the scary responsibility. When you truly understand that your word carries creative power, when you speak with genuine authority and watch reality respond, you can no longer hide behind the comfortable excuses that have protected you from taking full ownership of your life. The journey from hoping to commanding strips away every favorite excuse you've been using to stay small. You can't blame circumstances when you're asking the universe for favors, and you can wait indefinitely when you're begging for change. But commanding places complete power directly in your hands, and with that power comes the undeniable responsibility for every outcome you experience. Behind the scenes, this is why most people unconsciously resist stepping into their true authority. It's easier to remain a victim of circumstances than to accept that you've been the creator of those circumstances, all along through your words and beliefs. The comfortable illusion of powerlessness protects you from having to take action, make decisions, or face the truth about your own creative abilities. This revelation transforms everything about how you approach challenges, setbacks, and obstacles. When you know that your word is law, when you understand that reality bends to authority rather than hope, you can no longer pretend that change is outside your control. Every moment becomes an opportunity to consciously create rather than unconsciously react. The hidden truth is that this level of responsibility is actually freedom, because it means you're never truly stuck, never genuinely powerless, never really at the mercy of external forces. Now, this understanding brings us to the most profound realization about how this authority manifests through one specific command that changes everything. Write in the comments, "I accept full responsibility," if you're ready to embrace this level of one creative power. This is where Florence Scovel Shinn's profound understanding becomes revolutionary. She taught something that most people completely miss about manifestation. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which means commanding the unseen into the seen. Notice the stark difference in those words. Assume, don't wish. Declare, don't plead. Command, don't wait. This isn't just wordplay. It's the fundamental distinction between those who create their reality and those who remain at the mercy of circumstances. The transformation happens when you understand that assumption is a present moment declaration of what already exists in the realm of infinite possibility. When you assume something is true, you're not hoping it might happen someday. You're recognizing it as an accomplished fact that's simply moving from the invisible into the visible. This mindset shift changes everything about how you interact with your desires. Behind the scenes, this is why some people seem to effortlessly attract what they want, while others struggle for years with the same goals. The successful ones have learned to assume their success as a given, to speak about their desires as inevitable outcomes rather than distant possibilities. They don't beg the universe for opportunities. They assume opportunities are constantly flowing to them. The journey of stepping into this frequency reveals something profound about the vibration of authority that every human being possesses. True, authority can actually be felt in the body. When someone walks into a room and speaks with genuine certainty, you feel it immediately. There's something in their presence that makes you believe them before you even process their words. That same powerful vibration lives within you right now, buried under years of doubt, conditioning, and the false belief that certainty somehow makes you arrogant. This authority isn't about dominance or aggression. It's about the unmistakable frequency of someone who knows their word is law. When you speak from this place, reality recognizes the vibration and responds accordingly. Most people have never accessed this frequency because they've been taught that wanting things makes them selfish, that declaring their desires makes them presumptuous, that speaking with confidence violates some unspoken rule about staying humble. But the hidden truth is that this vibration of authority is your natural state. It's who you were before the world taught you to doubt yourself, before circumstances convinced you to speak tentatively, before experiences made you believe that your voice doesn't matter. The transformation isn't about becoming someone different. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the layers of limitation. Now, this understanding opens the door to the most powerful revelation of all. There's one specific command that carries more transformative force than any other words you could possibly speak. Write in the comments, I remember my natural authority, if you're ready to reclaim this innate power within you. This one specific command reveals what I call the mechanical truth about how reality operates. Once you truly realize how fast command works, once you witness reality move under your voice with your own eyes, there's absolutely no going back. You can't pretend anymore that change takes time, that circumstances are fixed, that you're powerless to alter your situation. When you see the immediate response that authentic authority creates, you can't crawl back into the comfortable illusion of waiting for someday. The transformation becomes irreversible because you've crossed a threshold that changes your entire relationship with possibility. Most people live their whole lives never experiencing what it feels like to speak with genuine command and watch reality reorganize itself in real time. They remain trapped in the slow, frustrating cycle of hoping, wishing, and waiting, never realizing that immediate change is available through the authority of their own voice. Behind the scenes, this mechanical truth operates with the precision of a law of physics. When you speak with authentic authority, when your words carry the frequency of absolute certainty, reality doesn't deliberate or delay. It responds instantly. This isn't metaphysical theory. It's observable cause and effect that you can witness and verify through your own experience. The journey to this understanding brings us to something even more profound. Your body knows truth when it hears it. When you finally speak the ultimate command with genuine authority, your physical system will respond immediately. You might feel shivers running down your spine, a tightening in your chest, even tears forming in your eyes. These aren't emotional reactions. They're your body recognizing the frequency of truth and aligning with it. This physical response happens because your entire being remembers what it feels like to speak from your natural state of authority. The moment you voice this command with complete certainty, every cell in your body awakens to the recognition that this is how you're meant to interact with reality. Speaking it doesn't just create external movement, it sets immediate internal transformation into motion. Most people have never experienced this level of alignment between their voice and their physical being because they've been conditioned to speak tentatively, to doubt their own authority, to minimize their power. But when you finally speak as the conscious creator of your reality, your body responds with the unmistakable sensation of coming home to yourself. The hidden truth is that this physical response is actually your system confirming that you've accessed your authentic power, that you're no longer pretending to be small, that you've remembered who you really are beneath all the conditioning. Now, this understanding prepares you for the moment when you'll finally speak the words that will change everything about how you relate to abundance, opportunity, and your own creative power. Write in the comments, "My body knows the truth," if you're ready to experience this alignment between your voice and your physical being. The transformation that happens when you speak with true authority isn't motivation or inspiration. It's pure mechanics. When you understand that money shifts, people appear, and opportunities align not because of luck or coincidence, but because this is precisely how reality operates when addressed with genuine authority. Everything changes about how you approach your desires. This isn't some feel-good philosophy. It's the observable mechanics of how consciousness interacts with the field of infinite possibility. Behind the scenes, what most people call manifestation is actually just reality responding to the frequency of certainty in your voice. When you speak from authentic authority, you're not hoping the universe will grant your wishes. You're commanding the reorganization of circumstances through the same natural laws that govern every aspect of existence. The people who understand this distinction live in a completely different world than those who are still hoping and wishing. The journey to this understanding reveals something profound about the nature of the ultimate command itself. This isn't positive thinking, wrapped in pretty affirmations or gentle self-talk designed to make you feel better. What you're about to discover is a weapon, a sword that cuts through resistance, a lightning strike that creates immediate change in the fabric of reality itself. This command carries such transformative power because it operates at the frequency of absolute authority. When you speak it with genuine conviction, it doesn't negotiate with circumstances, doesn't ask permission from external forces, doesn't wait for the right timing. It commands reality to reorganize itself around your declaration with the same force that moves mountains and changes the course of rivers. Most people have never experienced words as weapons because they've been conditioned to speak gently, to minimize their desires, to ask politely for what they want. But the hidden truth is that your voice carries the same creative force that spoke worlds into existence. When you access this frequency, when you speak from the place of knowing that your word is law, resistance dissolves instantly. The revelation becomes clear when you understand that every great transformation in history happened because someone finally decided to stop asking and start commanding. They didn't hope circumstances would change. They declared new realities with such authority that the old patterns had no choice but to dissolve. Now, this understanding brings us to the moment you've been waiting for. The exact words that will transform your relationship with abundance forever. Write in the comments, "I am ready for the weapon," if you're prepared to receive this ultimate command. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that the universe operates on a response system that has nothing to do with fairness, deservingness, or moral judgment. Reality doesn't respond to weakness, pleading, or desperate energy. It responds to command. This isn't about being demanding or aggressive. It's about recognizing that when you speak as a master of your own experience, rather than a beggar hoping for scraps, the entire field of possibility reorganizes itself around your certainty. Behind the scenes, this is why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities while others struggle endlessly, despite working just as hard. The difference isn't in their actions or qualifications. It's in how they speak to reality itself. Those who understand this principle don't negotiate with circumstances. They don't ask permission from external forces. They don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They speak, and reality responds. The transformation happens when you grasp what Florence Scovel Shinn meant when she declared that your word is law. This isn't motivational exaggeration or spiritual metaphor. This is the terrifying truth about how consciousness interacts with the field of infinite possibility. When you speak with genuine authority, when your voice carries the frequency of absolute certainty, reality doesn't deliberate or delay. It obeys. Most people resist this understanding because it strips away every comfortable excuse they've been using to avoid taking full responsibility for their results. It's easier to believe that success is random, that abundance is reserved for others, that circumstances control your destiny. But once you recognize that reality has been responding to the authority in your voice all along, everything changes. The journey to this recognition reveals something profound about the nature of creation itself. Every outcome you've ever experienced, every pattern that keeps repeating in your life, every limitation you've accepted as permanent, all of it has been shaped by the frequency of certainty or doubt in your daily declarations. This understanding transforms how you approach every moment, because you realize that each time you speak, you're either reinforcing the reality you want to escape or commanding the reality you want to experience. Now, this brings us to the exact moment when you'll speak the specific words that will fundamentally alter your relationship with abundance, opportunity, and your own creative power. Write in the comments, "My word is law," if you're ready to step into this ultimate authority. The exact moment has arrived when you'll speak the words that will fundamentally transform your relationship with reality itself. The command that changes everything is deceptively simple, yet profoundly powerful. My word is law. These 4 words carry the concentrated authority of every great leader, every successful creator, every person who has ever shaped circumstances through the sheer force of their certainty. When you speak this command, not as a hope, not as a wish, but as an absolute declaration, something shifts in the very fabric of your being. Say it now with weight, with force, with the authority of someone who knows their voice shapes reality. My word is law. Feel that tremor in your chest, that electric sensation running through your nervous system. That's your entire being recognizing the frequency of truth and aligning with your natural state of creative authority. The transformation becomes immediate because you're not asking permission from the universe. You're declaring your rightful position as the conscious architect of your own experience. Behind the scenes, this declaration cuts through years of conditioning that taught you to speak tentatively, to minimize your desires, to hope rather than command. Now we expand this ultimate authority specifically for abundance. When you combine this command with your financial desires, something profound happens. My word is law. Large sums of money flow into my life now. Reality doesn't have the option to argue with this declaration, to stall your progress, or to delay your abundance. When spoken with genuine authority, this command creates an immediate shift in the field of possibility that surrounds you. The journey from hoping for money to commanding its flow represents one of the most significant mindset transformations a person can make. Most people spend their entire lives asking the universe for financial abundance, pleading with circumstances to change, hoping that somehow money will find its way to them. But when you speak from the authority of knowing that your word is law, you're not requesting, you're instructing reality to reorganize itself around your declaration. This understanding reveals why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others struggle endlessly despite their best efforts. The difference isn't in their actions, qualifications, or even their work ethic. It's in the frequency of authority that underlies their relationship with abundance. Now, this command extends far beyond money, Because when you truly understand that your word is law, every area of your life becomes malleable to your conscious direction. Write in the comments, "Large sums of money flow to me now," if you're ready to command abundance with this same authority. The power of this command transforms every aspect of your existence when you understand its universal application. In relationships, the shift is profound. My word is law. The right person appears now. You're not begging to be chosen, hoping someone will notice you, or waiting for love to find you someday. You're commanding the magnetic reorganization of your entire romantic reality. Behind the scenes, this declaration dissolves the desperate energy that actually repels authentic connection. When you speak from this authority, wrong people begin, fading from your experience effortlessly. Those toxic ties that have been draining your energy for months or years suddenly break without drama or struggle. The magnetic pull that once drew dysfunction into your life shifts completely in your favor, attracting individuals who resonate with your new frequency of self-possession. The transformation happens because you're no longer operating from the scarcity mindset that creates clingy, needy energy. Instead, you're declaring yourself as someone worthy of extraordinary love, and reality responds by clearing away anything that doesn't match that standard. This same principle revolutionizes how opportunities flow into your experience. My word is law. Doors open for me. You're no longer knocking timidly and waiting for someone to grant you permission. You're not hoping the right people will notice your qualifications or praying that circumstances will align in your favor. You speak, and doors swing open effortlessly. The journey to this understanding reveals something profound about the nature of obstacles themselves. Most barriers aren't actually solid walls blocking your path. They're simply waiting for your authority to dissolve them. When you command rather than request, when you declare rather than hope, resistance melts away because it has no power to stand against genuine certainty. The hidden truth is that the doors you thought were locked were never truly closed. They were simply responding to the tentative energy of someone who wasn't sure they deserved to walk through them. The moment you speak with the authority of someone who knows their word is law, every barrier reveals itself to be an illusion that dissolves under the weight of your conviction. This understanding transforms how you approach every challenge, every goal, every desire that seems just out of reach. Now, this brings us to the most crucial realization about what happens when you fully embrace this level of conscious authority over every aspect of your reality. Write in the comments, "All doors open for me," if you're ready to command this level of access to opportunities. The most crucial realization is understanding that when you write, "My word is law," publicly, you're not just leaving a comment or making a casual statement. This act becomes a contract between you and your future, a binding agreement that stamps this new vibration into existence and seals your transformed relationship with reality itself. The moment you declare this publicly, you're crossing a threshold that changes everything about how you interact with possibility. Behind the scenes, this public declaration creates what I call energetic accountability. When you announce your authority in front of witnesses, even virtual ones, you're making it impossible to retreat back into victim consciousness. You're burning the bridges that lead back to powerlessness, ensuring that the only path forward is the one where you take complete responsibility for every outcome in your experience. The transformation that happens after this declaration is both immediate and irreversible. Once you speak with true authority, once you fully embrace the principle that your word is law, every excuse that has been protecting you from taking action dies instantly. Every delay that has been keeping you comfortable in limitation dissolves without negotiation. Every doubt that has been whispering reasons why you can't succeed burns away in the fire of your newfound certainty. This is the moment when you stop being someone who asks permission and become someone who grants it. You cease being someone who waits for the right moment and become someone who creates it. You abandon the identity of someone who hopes things might work out and fully embody the truth of someone who knows they will. The journey to this point has been preparing you for this exact transformation, because once you cross this line, there's no comfortable middle ground. You can't partially believe that your word is law. You can't occasionally speak with authority while retreating to doubt when things get challenging. The commitment is total, and the results reflect that level of conviction. Most people resist this final step because it strips away every safety net they've been using to avoid taking full ownership of their creative power. It's easier to remain in the realm of hoping and wishing than to step into the terrifying responsibility of knowing that reality bends to your voice. Now, this understanding brings us to the profound realization about how this authority expresses itself in your daily experience once you've made this complete commitment. Write in the comments, "I burn all bridges to powerlessness," if you're ready to make this irreversible commitment to your own authority. This irreversible commitment opens the door to the most profound recognition of all. You're not asking the universe for favors, hoping cosmic forces will intervene on your behalf, or waiting for external permission to create the life you desire. The transformation happens when you recognize that you are the universe expressing itself through your individual consciousness. When you command from this understanding, everything else in your reality rearranges itself because you finally claimed your rightful position as the conscious architect of your own experience. Behind the scenes, this recognition dissolves the illusion of separation that keeps most people feeling small and powerless. They spend their lives believing that abundance, love, and opportunity exist somewhere outside of themselves, controlled by forces beyond their influence. But when you understand that consciousness is the fundamental creative force, and that your consciousness is connected to the infinite field of possibility, commanding becomes as natural as breathing. The journey to this realization transforms how you approach every challenge, every setback, every moment when old patterns try to reassert themselves. You no longer see obstacles as evidence that you're powerless. You recognize them as opportunities to demonstrate your authority over circumstances through the clarity of your declarations. This understanding creates what I call the permanent transformation. Once you truly know that your word is law, once you've experienced reality bending to your authority, you can never again feel genuinely powerless. Every outcome becomes your responsibility because reality doesn't operate with a maybe button or a sometimes setting. It only has yes to your authoritative voice when spoken with complete conviction. The hidden truth is that this permanent shift in how you relate to your own power affects every decision you make, every conversation you have, every thought you think throughout your day. You begin speaking differently, not just about your desires, but about your challenges, your relationships, your past, and your future. Everything becomes a conscious choice rather than an unconscious reaction. Most people resist this level of responsibility because it means they can no longer blame external circumstances for their dissatisfaction. But the freedom that comes with this recognition far outweighs the comfort of victim consciousness. Now, this brings us to understanding how this transformation expresses itself in the practical, moment-to-moment experience of living from this new paradigm of conscious authority. Write in the comments, "I am the conscious creator," if this recognition of your true power resonates with your understanding. This transformation you've just experienced isn't something that fades with time or gets forgotten in the rush of daily life. When you truly understand that your word is law, when you've felt that electric recognition in your chest, when you've crossed the threshold from hoping to commanding, that's a permanent shift in how you relate to your own creative power. Living from this new paradigm means every morning you wake up knowing that your voice shapes the day ahead. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to practice conscious creation. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate that reality bends to authority rather than resistance. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, if you've felt the truth resonating in your body as we've explored these principles together, then you're exactly the kind of person who transforms not just their own life, but creates ripples that touch everyone around them. The content I share here isn't casual entertainment. It's designed for people who are ready to live as conscious creators rather than unconscious reactors. I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, because what we've covered today is just the beginning. There's so much more depth to explore about how consciousness creates reality, how words shape circumstances, and how you can master the art of commanding rather than begging your way through life. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, if you feel like these words were meant for your ears right now, write in the comments, "This message was meant for me." I read every single comment, and there's something powerful about publicly declaring your recognition of truth. And if you felt that connection we've built together over these minutes, if this conversation has shifted something inside you, a like on this video helps me know that this content is reaching the people who need it most. There's a video right here that takes this understanding even deeper into how your daily words are either building the life you want or reinforcing the life you're trying to escape. Click and continue with me over there, because the transformation you've started today is just getting warmed up.